All right. So, welcome back, everybody. This month, your topic is going to be on web design, actually, Google Sites. It's going to be a neat, fun look at Google Sites. Before we jump into that, though, the normal, quick housekeeping stuff. When you get a chance, log into Classroom. And if you go to the GHS staff class, head over to the About tab. If you scroll down there, you'll see a section called Google PD Resources, and each month I'll just add another document. The December document is at the bottom of that list, and when you go there, that will pop you over to this Google Doc right there. As normal, it's got all the blah blah welcome stuff at the top. I would certainly encourage you to check out those things. We've got my Control-Alt-Achieve website where I continue to put 1 or 2, maybe 3 blog posts a week with things you can use in your class. Definitely take advantage of those. Don't forget we do the webinars at Spark. Got some new ones coming up here in the near term. But for today, our focus is Unit 4 of your training, which a bunch of it does not even apply to you. So we're just looking at one piece of it. Unit 4 dealt with communicating, and it's had Gmail in it and groups and a lot of stuff that you guys don't use because you're using Outlook, and so a lot of it did not apply. But one piece of it that did apply was creating websites. And so what I did was I sent out a quick questionnaire to you guys a couple of days ago, and if you didn't fill it out, that's fine. It was optional, but just for anybody that wanted to, asking, have you or your students ever used any kind of web design tools like Weebly or Wix or Google Sites or Blogger or whatever? I mean, there's so many out there, and actually got some pretty good examples from folks. So these are the ones that people shared with me. I'll pull them up here real quick. One of the websites that got shared is the ROTC website that one of your colleagues maintains. Another site that got submitted was the Green Local Choirs website. Then Mrs. Popovich had her Spanish site that she uses Weebly to do. And Mr. Temeko has his social studies site also done in Weebly. And I, again, don't always know who's all in which session. Anybody claim any of those sites? Is that anybody in this room? No? Okay. How about you guys? If you did or didn't, maybe didn't get a chance to submit something. Any of you guys, have you created websites? Give me a little bit of feedback on like what have you used? What have you done? Weebly, sure. And what have you created with it? What have you made with it? Was it like a class?
Website for class and clubs. So it's sort of me.
Yeah.
Go to both areas.
Class and clubs, perfect, excellent. All right. Other folks, have you done web design stuff?
When I got Google certified before, we made a bunch of sites, and then I did my whole master's on Google Sites. Like I made the portfolio.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's great. Now, when was that? How long would that have been?
6 years ago.
Yeah. So Google Sites, have you seen the new sites yet?
7 years ago.
Yeah. Because what we're looking at today just came out last month, just came out in November. Okay. I'm really going to be interested to get your take on this because it sounds like you have a lot of experience with what we're now calling classic sites. So I really will be curious to see what you think about what we take a look at here today. Awesome. So anybody else web design stuff? If not, that's fine, but just curious. All right. So as far as using web design tools, this is certainly something that you guys can do or your students. There are a lot of great, benefits. These are things people submitted in from the survey we did talking about how nice it is to have everything in one place, and it's easy for the parents to access it. It's easy for the kids, if you want them to be creating websites, to be able to do the same. But a few challenges popped up as well. In the survey, these came up time and time again, people said time, cost, and learning how to use a new system. So what we're looking at today should answer all of those without any problem. First of all, cost, well, everything in Google's free, so there's no cost, no worry about that. As far as time goes, I think you're going to find this is really quick. You can put together a site like lightning fast in the new Google Sites. And then as far as learning to use the system, honestly, folks, I've been doing web design for 25 plus years, and I have never seen something easier than this, okay? There's a lot of other tools out there that might be more powerful, but nothing easier than this. It's all just drag and drop, and boom, you're done. It's just so simple to put together a website. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking a look at today what we're calling the new Google Sites. So it turns out Google has had a web design program for a long time. Sites itself is not a new idea. Probably a good 10 years they've had Google Sites. But it had started to get a little bit old. It wasn't quite keeping up with modern things. Like if you made a site, it didn't always look real good like on a cell phone, you know, it didn't adjust real well to that, and it wasn't drag and drop and things that people are getting used to. So what Google did is they started from scratch and they developed a brand new version of Sites. And right now there are two versions. There's the classic, which is what you would have learned. It's what I've used for many years. And there's the new Google Sites. The new Sites, they released like a beta version this summer, and then just here in November, they just released it to everybody. So it is brand new. Because it is so new, it doesn't have like every feature it's going to have eventually. They're going to keep, just like Classroom. When Classroom came out a couple years ago, it didn't have, you know, half the features it does now. Same thing with Sites. They're going to be adding loads of new things to it. But even right now, it's really good. It's a very solid program even at this point. For those who have used the classic version of Sites, it's not going away right away. Chances are we'll probably still have it for about another 2 or 3 years. They said there's going to be plenty of time in which they're going to give you some sort of transition tool you can use if you want to move old sites over to the new sites before they shut down the old one. All right? So what I'd like us to do today is build a site. And while we're doing it, you want to think, how could this be useful to you? But also, what about your students? This doesn't just have to be you creating these sites. This could be something your students could be doing for an e-portfolio or for a project or for a presentation, a collaborative sort of thing. A lot of options for the kids as well. So, how do we get into Sites? So let's do this. In your handout for today, or your agenda, if you go down to Eric's resources, and you get down just a little bit further, you'll see a spot that says Google Sites Access. 3 main ways to get to Sites. One option is to go directly, bless you, go directly to the link, which is sites.google.com/new. If you leave off the new, you get to the old sites. So you want to have the new in there to get to the new sites. That'll get you there. At the same time, you can also get to the new sites through Google Drive. So if you're in Drive and you go New, More, Sites, that'll get you there as well. And then another option is the waffle button, if you use that. If you like using the waffle button, Sites shows up there. Keep in mind, this is currently the old Sites. So once you get there, there's a link that will jump you over to the new Sites. So if you use the waffle button, it'll take you to the old Sites. Then the new Sites is over here on the left-hand side, and then that will take you into the new Sites. Okay? So one way or the other, you should be getting to something that looks kind of like this. Now I realize you don't have any sites in there, so you're not going to have these little thumbnails. That's from when I've been playing around with this each session here today. But you guys should have a screen that has Google Sites at the top and a big red plus button down in the bottom. You got that far? You already went ahead? Okay, if you created one from Drive, maybe it took you right into it. That's fine too. Perfectly fine. No problem. You're just one step ahead of us. We'll be caught up to you here in just a second. You're always leading the pack. That's fine. So, from this screen, if you guys haven't created the site yet, just go ahead and go down to the plus button, hit that, and now we'll all be caught up to the same spot. And there you go. Boom, you got a site. So as simple as that, you've just created a site. Okay, quick thing. Nobody else can see your site, so don't worry about somebody stumbling upon this. It is private until you decide to publish it, if you ever publish it. You don't have to. This can just be a demo site you're playing around with. So nobody else is going to see what you're doing here today. All right, let's do a quick tour of what you're going to see here in Google Sites. So starting in the top left-hand corner, this is where we give our site a title. Now you guys, again, can call this anything you want. It's just a demo for today. I'm just naming mine after the sessions. This is the 5th session of the day, so this I'm just going to call mine Curts Session 5, but you can name your site whatever you would like. Below that is the header for your welcome page. Right now we just have one page. We'll add a bunch of more pages, but for right now we've just got one page. And in this header area, there's a spot here for your title. Now that title is just the title for that page. Earlier we put in the title for the whole site. This is just the title for that page. You know, so I might just call it welcome or something like that if it's just my welcome page. Again, totally up to you. You guys type in whatever you want for your header title. And there's your header. Now, below there, we're going to put in stuff shortly. In a little bit, we can add all kinds of stuff down here, pictures and text boxes, and we'll do that here in just a bit. Let's take a look now in the top right-hand corner and give you a quick tour of what's up here. So up here, you're going to find 3 tabs: the Insert tab, the Pages tab, and the Themes tab. Now the Insert tab is where we're going to go to put things on our web page. You want to insert a text box, pictures, a YouTube video, a calendar, whatever, a Google Doc. So we'll do that in just a little bit. Next to that is a tab called Pages. This is where you would add more pages. Maybe you need a calendar page, or you need a class handouts page, or whatever. We can make as many pages as you want. And then the last tab is the Themes tab. And here's where you can change the look and feel. Now at the moment, there aren't very many themes. This is a big difference. The classic version of Sites probably has 50 or 60 themes. This new version at the moment only has 6. So they'll be adding a whole bunch more. Just give them time. They'll add a lot more. Right now there's Simple, Aristotle, Diplomat, Vision, Level, and Impression. Now, for each one of these, though, there actually are some things you can tweak, okay? So if you choose like Simple, you can also choose colors, you know, red, green, purple, stuff like that. You can also choose your font style. There's typically, I think, 3 fonts for each one of them. It just depends upon which theme you chose. So you can do heavy, or in this case, light or classic. Or if you pick a different one, it'll have its own set of fonts and colors, okay? So you can do a little bit of adjustment there. In addition to changing the overall theme, you can also change things inside of the page to, again, give it a little bit of a different look. The themes up here is like the overall color and fonts. But notice this. Maybe I want my header to look different than this. Instead of what came with the theme, if I hover above there, you get a change image option right there. You can very easily change what's in your header. So let's go ahead and try that. Let me go ahead and click Change Image. And at that point, you get a screen where you can choose from either a gallery of images they've given you, or you can upload your own picture, no problem at all. Or you can grab something from your photo albums, grab something from your drive, or you can just search. I'm just going to run a search. I'm going to use the search option, and let's say I'm just looking for a picture of a classroom. Obviously, you guys can type in anything that you want. I'm just going to type in classroom, and now I get all of these classroom photos. Find one that you like. Oh, and by the way, everything is allowable to be reused. It says results shown are labeled for commercial reuse with modification. So these are all public domain, freely allowable to use pictures. Grab a picture, select it, and boom, there we go. Now I've got a nice pretty header up there at the top of my page. Simple as that. You can also change how big the header is. There is an option here where it says header type. You've got 3 options: large, banner, or title only. So you can always switch between that on each of your pages as to how you want your header to look. That's it. Simple as that. So even though you're a little bit limited on the themes, you really can customize it a lot by going into the picture settings. All right, let's throw some stuff on the page now. And again, you guys put whatever you want on yours. I'm going to add a couple of text boxes. I'm going to add a picture. Just going to, put a few things on. So let's try that. So on my welcome page, over here in the top right, I'm going to go to the Insert menu. And from here, I'm going to start with just a text box. Very simple, nothing fancy at all. Just going to click on the text box. And click there, boom, there it is. It drops a text box right onto the page. At this point, type in, welcome to my page. I've been teaching so many years. I've got a dog and 2 cats and blah, 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 blah. Okay, fill in your information. I have, to save some time, already pre-typed up some stuff. So I'm going to just copy what I've already got here and paste that in. And you guys could do the exact same thing. If you have an existing site and you decide, I think I do like sites. I think I'm going to move my stuff over to sites. Just open up one site, copy the stuff, go to sites, paste it in. Okay, so I can just copy and paste, and boom, there we go. So simple as that. My text is now pasted in. If you want, you can tweak that text box a little bit. Just click on the text box and you'll see that you get these little blue handles that you can use to shrink up the text box or make the text box bigger or drag the text box around, put it on the right, put it on the left, put it in the middle, wherever you want that text box to be. Everything in the new Google Sites is all drag and drop. You want something somewhere else? Move it. Just drag it around to put it where you want it. If you want to edit the text in the text box, you can highlight any of the text and then just use the little pop-up menu here, bold, italics, centering, or change it to be like a heading or a subheading, and that'll make it look a little bit different from the rest of the text. So very easy to go in and modify the text. Another thing you might want to do with your text is you might want to add links. Maybe you've got your email address in there. Click here to send me an email. Or maybe you've got a couple of helpful websites. Click here to go to this science website, or click here to go to this art gallery site. So if you want to make something a link, all you have to do is highlight the thing that you want to turn into a link. Like here I've got my Control-Alt-Achieve web address down here. If you highlight the thing you want to turn into a link, in the pop-up menu there's a little button that looks like a link, and that'll turn it into a link. Now, if your original thing that you highlighted is already in the www dot blah 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 format, clicking the link, boom, simple as that, just makes it a link. If it's not already in that format, you will have to type in the actual address. So like here, I've got Spark here. So here's Stark Portage Area Computer Consortium. Let's say I want to take the Stark Portage Area Computer Consortium words and make those become a link. If I highlight all of those words and I click the little link button, Google doesn't really know what the link should be, so it's going to pop up and ask me to paste it in or type it in. So I would still have to put in the actual link. But boom, simple as that. Now that is a link. Okay? So anything you want to turn into a link, highlight it, go to the link button, boom, make it a link. You can have as many text boxes as you want. Okay? Here I've got one text box, but maybe I want another text box. Just go up here, click text box. Yay, you got another one. So I've got some more text here, just like some contact me kind of stuff. Let me copy and paste that. And maybe I'll put that in a bulleted list. There we go. And so now I've got two text boxes. I've got this one up here, and then this one down here. If I want them side by side, I can grab this one and just drag it up next to this one, and now there we go. Now I've got two text boxes side by side. Maybe adjust them if that's needs a little bit more room. So that is perfectly fine if you want them like in columns. Or if you want the text box by itself, just drag it down below the other and move it around wherever you want it there. And it could be on its own, in its own section. So there's one section here with this text box and another section with this one. The neat thing about sections is you can customize how they look, and sometimes that can really make the site more attractive, kind of make things pop. So notice this text box in its own section down here. If I click down here, you'll notice a little painter's palette on the left-hand side that pops up. If you click on that little painter's palette, it lets you adjust that section. So just for that section, I can make it darker, or I can make it colored, or I could add a picture in the background of it. So really fast, you can start making the sections really pop and look different from each other. And then the last thing I'm going to do on the welcome page is go ahead and add an image. So to add an image, I will just come up here to the image button in the insert menu. And again, folks, grab it from wherever you want. Upload a picture, search for a picture, grab a picture from your Google Drive. I'll just grab this one here from my Google Drive. And when you drop the picture in, it may not know where the picture needs to go. So if it puts it where you don't want it, no problem. Just drag it over where you do want it. And there we go. So we'll just put it over there. And again, as simple as that, I now have my welcome page. So crazy, crazy easy just to be able to drag and drop things into your site, move them around, edit them however you want. Any questions on that so far?
Is there a way for subscripts and superscripts on that?
Good question. If you don't see it, then the answer is no. Yeah, if you don't see it, if we come here and if we highlight something, and if it's not anywhere up here, we've got strike through, we've got code, we've got no. No, there is. Now, again, like I said, it's only been out for a month. It's brand new. Really good chance we're going to see a lot of other features as they come out right now. But no adjustments at the moment for subscript or superscript inside of there. That is correct. All right, so that's one page. That's like a welcome page. But you might want to have a bunch of other pages on your site, or maybe this is a student project and each student is adding their own page to the site, whatever it might be. So if you want to do more than just a welcome page, what you guys want to do is head over here to the top right where it says Pages, give a click there, and from that you're going to see a button that looks like a piece of paper with a plus next to it. That's to add another page. All you got to do is click that and say, oh, I want a calendar page. Whoops. And boom, it creates a calendar page. And you say, and I want a class handouts page. And there that is. And I want a newsletter page. And I want a photo gallery page. You get the idea. You can just keep adding as many pages as you want, and as you do that, watch what's happening. Across the top here, it's starting to put links into each of those pages. There's the home page, and then here's my calendar page, and my class handouts page, and my newsletter page, and my photo gallery page, and every one of those pages is just like the welcome page. You can edit it however you want. So you may say, oh, calendar page. Let's make the header be a banner, and let's pick a cool picture for it. So let's change the image, and let's just search for a calendar picture. Well, try that again here, calendar picture. And we'll grab that, and there we go. So now we've got a nice calendar header. So very quick, you can go into each one of these pages and change the header, put things down below. Now, as you do that though, they're going to show up across the top in the order that you created them, but you can move them around. If you say, actually, I think I'd like my class handouts to be in front of the calendar, just drag it up and just drop it. And now class handouts is in front of calendar. Or if you get a bunch of pages and they're not fitting up there anymore, you can actually put pages underneath other pages as a drop-down menu. What you do for that is you grab it, and instead of putting it underneath another page, you put it on top of the page. And when you do that, it puts it as a drop-down menu. And so you can have a whole bunch of pages in a big drop-down menu So now I've got this drop-down menu. Or you can drag them out and put them by themselves again. So very, very easy to build your navigation just by dragging and dropping the pages on top of each other. Okay? If you don't like a top navigation, you can also take your mouse, and if you hover above the navigation, there's a little teeny gear on the side. You can switch it from top to side navigation. And if you do that, now when you click the navigation button, you get a side navigation down here and going down the side instead. If you prefer, though, you can go back to the gear, go back to top navigation, and now everything's going across the top. So it's really up to you as to which way you prefer for your navigation. Okay? Back on the calendar page, I never put my calendar in it, so let me show you how easy it is to add a calendar to your page. So here's my calendar page. If I go back to Insert, I just have to find the thing I want to add. In this case, I want to add a calendar. So I'll just click Calendar. It'll bring up my Google Calendar, so any calendar you have access to. I don't really have, this is my green account, so I don't really have anything on my calendar, but I do have access to your staff calendar, so I'm going to grab that one and just hit Insert, and it just drops the calendar right in the page. You can drag it out. If you want to leave it in agenda mode, that's fine, but there's also a little gear up here. You can say, let's switch this into week view or month view. We'll do month view. And boom, as simple as that, you now have a live embedded calendar right there on your site. Anytime you add something new to the calendar in Google Calendar, it shows up right on your site because it's pulling it live from your calendar at that point. So really very simple to add something like that to the page. Okay? Let me show you on the, let's go to the class handouts page. Let me show you something on this one real quick. So when it comes to putting files on your web page, you've got a couple of options for adding documents and files. Let me show you two different options. One option is, if you want, you can just insert a document or a PDF or whatever right in the document or in the site and just let it be embedded there. So if I said, oh, I want to grab something from my drive, I could just go to my drive and I could say, oh, I'm going to grab our agenda for today. Here's our agenda. And I'll insert that, and boom, there it is. It just drops it right there live into the Google site. So you can insert Word docs, PDFs, Google Docs, slideshows, forms, spreadsheets, anything on your drive, just throw it right on your site. Now that's fine if you're just wanting to do like a single document. But what if it is a student and they're doing an e-portfolio, or it's you and it's all of your chapter 2 notes and there's 12 documents? That could get kind of crazy real fast with all those documents. So let me show you another option for this that I think might really work well. And that is, instead of grabbing a single file from your drive, notice you're also allowed to insert an entire drive folder. Right here, drive folder. Here's the idea. What you guys can do is go to Google Drive, create a folder, call it Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3, whatever. Put all the files you want inside of that folder in Google Drive, and then insert the whole folder right into your Google site. Let me show you what that looks like when you do that. So if I come here and I say Google Drive, here's my Google Drive, and I've got a folder right here called Documents, and inside of that I've got a Word doc and a Google Doc and a slideshow and a spreadsheet. I've just got a whole bunch of stuff inside of this Documents folder. If I come here to Sites, and if I go to the Insert tab and I choose Drive Folder, this is going to let me grab an entire folder of files. So let me go find it. It's right there, Documents. There's the Documents folder. Let me insert that. When I do, it's going to drop that whole folder live right into my site. So now, anybody that goes to my site, they can see an alphabetical listing of what's in that folder. And if I ever decide I need to add 2 new things to it, I don't do it in Google Sites. I go to Drive, drop them in the folder, and they just show up automatically on the site. So it's a whole lot easier to manage. You just throw them in the Drive folder and they're automatically there on the site.
If you do that, when the students access it, is it as a view only?
Good question. It's whatever you set it to be. Sites does not change your sharing. You still have to set the sharing in Drive. All Sites does is provide like a link to it. If you made it view only, it'll be view only. If you forgot to share it, they won't even see it. They'll just get a big blank box on the site because you didn't share it. So you still control the sharing of that kind of stuff inside of Drive. I know we've got some art people, yes?
Well, I have a question too. Okay, so I just checked it and I think it's correct, but so if we have them create a portfolio in their green account, they can change the owner to their personal account, so it could be something they can take with them, right?
Actually, yes. If you had asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said, well, not really, you got to do this or that. Google announced, literally 2 Saturdays ago, that they're rolling out this year a new tool for graduating. Well, anybody can use it, but it's for graduates. That yes, you will be able to now transfer everything from your Drive and your Gmail from a school account into any other Google account, a personal account, a college account, and everything will move. So yes, they can take all this stuff with them. Yeah, there were ways to do it before, but it was kind of clunky. They announced they are rolling out a totally free, very easy to use tool for this year for people to use.
We actually did have an in-service with this with our curriculum director Kim Bruick at the time.
Yeah.
She showed us how to use audio boom with it.
Sure.
But I just tried using it on the new version and I can't figure out how to do it. But have you ever used audio boom?
I have not.
Okay. All right.
I cannot guarantee what a good, when it comes to third-party tools, the embed option is typically what you use, but I cannot guarantee it's going to work with everything out of the gate. There may be some things they still need to work on with that, but typically the embed option would let you put like a Prezi in or something that's not Google related.
Yeah, and I have I did my daughter's artwork. And
Yeah.
I had her read something about the artwork, and I have it
Gotcha.
on the old sites, but I don't know if you're on there. Okay.
I gotcha.
So that embed URL is not necessarily something in your particular site that's going to be off-site.
A lot of times it's going to be somewhere else. Like for example, if I went to my Control-Alt-Achieve site and said, oh, I want to grab this blog post from here, I could come here and copy the link, come over here and say I want to embed the URL, paste that in, and it will add that in as a little thing where they get the picture, they get the title, and it will embed that,
Just creating a link.
Yeah.
And have it highlighted text.
Right, it can make it a little bit more attractive.
Like a little sticker box that you can
Right.
make.
Yeah.
But you can probably do that with YouTube videos too, right?
Yep. You can insert YouTube videos right here
okay.
for that. When it comes to photos, there's a couple of options there. You can do the folder approach. You can say, I'm going to throw a whole folder of pictures in. So I could say, I've got a folder called Images. I'm going to drop the entire folder in. But here's what you would do, guys. Instead of having this be listed like this, if you drop a whole folder in, there's a little gear icon up here in the top. If you click that, you can switch it from list view to grid view. And when you do that, you actually get previews of what's in there. And so now, anything you drop in that folder, a thumbnail will show up. You can click on the thumbnail and it would open it up. So you could have a whole folder of artwork or photos or something like that embedded. Okay, so how do we view it? Good question. So anything that you build here, if you want to say, what does this actually look like? That's what the eyeball button up here does. Okay? So from your site, go up to the eyeball button and give it a click. And what it's going to do is give you 3 different preview options. The first is large screen. So like you're looking at it here on a full computer screen, you can see what it would look like. Then there's tablet mode, which is a little bit smaller, obviously. And then there's phone mode. So you can actually see how this scales to each of these different types of devices. And then if you want to go to the calendar page, if you want to go to the photo gallery page, it would show you the adjustments that it would make based upon the page you're going to. The class handouts page. So, and then you can pop back out to whatever view and then just hit the X when you're all done. So yeah, if you want to see what it looks like, that's what the eyeball button does for you. Yeah?
Is there a way to transfer immediately to the website?
At the moment, there's no transfer tool. Not saying that there's not going to be, but there's no click this button kind of thing. It is literally a copy, paste kind of thing. No, there's not. There's nothing built yet that just moves things over. So
not necessarily wanting to dump all that stuff. I could just throw a link here until I did manually move everything
sure.
over.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's probably the easiest thing, John, is you're going to
Yeah.
direct everybody here.
Yeah.
It's kind of silly to go here to have something that was already there.
Yeah. A couple of last minute things that we definitely need to mention. Everything you've done so far is private. Only you can see it. Two things, though, to involve other people. Next to the eyeball button at the top, there's a button for sharing this. Looks like a person with a plus next to it. If you click that, that allows you to add editors. If you want other people to work on the site with you, like students working all together on a group project or you and a colleague working on it, that's where you add co-editors. And then the button next to that, which says publish, that's where you go to actually make this a live site that other people could see. What you do, if you publish it, is you type in the address you want for it. It's going to be sites.google.com/greenlocalschools.org/Mr. Curts' site, whatever you want to call it. At that point, you'll decide, is it visible just to the school or is it visible to anybody out on the web? You get to pick the level of visibility. That's when it becomes an official website for the world to see at that point. And that is publish. That's publish right there.
The other one says allow to appear.
Do you want people to be able to search for it? If you don't check this, then basically anybody in the school can see it, anybody on the web could see it, but it's not going to show up in search results, meaning you're going to have to give them the link. You're going to have to put the link on the green side or something. If you say allow to show up in results, that means people can also go to Google, type in your name or something, and find your site. So that is just whether or not you want it to be searchable. I mean, I let my stuff be searchable because I want people to find it, but it's totally up to you as to how broadly you want it to be visible out there to the world. Yeah. And so that's the gist of it. Now there's a lot more bells and whistles and things in there, but for the most part, yeah, that's pretty much all you got to do to build a Google site. Now, if you'd like to learn more, you've got a couple of options. One is just poke around and you'll figure it out, I guarantee you. But another is this Thursday, I'm doing a webinar on this at a little bit more depth. I try to do 1 or 2 video trainings a month. Those are always on the Spark site. There's links at the top of the document there. This month, my topic is the new Google site. So it'll be a 1-hour session with a little bit more detail. They're always recorded, so you can just watch it whenever. So if you're looking for another review or a little bit more in depth, check either this Thursday or anytime after this Thursday, and you can watch the recorded version of that if you want to pick up some other pointers from there. Okay? But other than that, do you guys have any questions or comments or for those, I'm sorry, you said you were really familiar with the old version. What do you think about the new version?
It's easier to use, but I think the old version had more options.
You are absolutely correct. And so we're going to see those options start to roll out over this next year. Google does that a lot. They'll release something and say, go ahead and start using it, and then they'll just keep developing it. So, no, you're totally right. The old version, I have used it extensively, and I can probably think of, 20 things it does that the new version doesn't do yet. But we're going to see those as they keep coming out. But what I really like is just how quick and easy it is just to jump in and build a site. All right.
It makes me want to use it more than Classroom, because I feel like a lot of stuff I'm building on Classroom is just going to be like hard to use and extra?
The stuff in Classroom doesn't, yeah, you're right, Classroom is not a web design tool. And there are things where you say, you know what, I really want to have this logically arranged into drop-down menus and categories, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, whatever.
That stream.
Exactly. Now you can use the About page and that can kind of do it, but I could definitely see this working. Classroom is by default a workflow management tool. It keeps your sanity with pushing out assignments and collecting things. This could be a great way for organizing content.
Use it year to year,
Yeah. All right. Good job, guys. All right. Well, hey, have a fantastic break.
Thanks.
You bet.